it's the economy we are talking about. And my guest is Wale Salako, chartered accountant, who is giving us his insight into how the economy can be brought back on track. You can join our live stream on YouTube, type Citizen FM Insight, and you'll be part of the show. And also, if you want to be part of our social media platforms, 3 of them on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on X at Citizen FM 937. The phone lines are open also. You can call us on 0903 2229797. And you can also call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. Any of the 3 numbers, 0903 2229797 or 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. Any of those numbers. You can also send us a WhatsApp message and let us know where you are writing in from, and our guest will be able to react to any of your questions, or even if you have an observation. All right, Wale, let's make some progress. Let's look at the cost of governance in an economy like this. It's been generating a lot of controversy, not just now. Over the years, critics have always said, one of the ways that the country can lessen its financial burden is for the country to reduce its cost of governance, especially public officers, talking about elected or appointed, that it's overwhelming the system. You are a chartered accountant. How would you suggest we handle the issue of cost of governance?
Yeah, thank you. Issue of cost of governance is a major issue at the moment. It's been there over time, and I don't think this will go in anytime soon. So we look at, when we are looking at revenue, we'll look at cost too. Revenue is the inflow into the federal purse. We're talking about how the money goes out too. It matters a lot on how we spend, because at a time like this, when things are extremely difficult for the masses, we expect the government to show sympathy by spending in a way that will bring up what we call value for money. Value for money is talking about 3 key things. One is talking about efficiency, it's talking about effectiveness, and it's talking about economy. Economy is telling you how do you spend to bring the best from little cost. Effectiveness is telling you about how this will be, the impact will be felt on the the targeted population. And efficiency is talking about how quickly, how best you can achieve all these things. So when we are spending, the spending should be based on these 3 key things. Are we getting value for our money in Nigeria? The answer is no. But how do we go about this? I think in the coming period we'll say what the present government is doing. But people have criticized them for, having over-bloated ministers, about 40 of them as ministers. Everybody is saying it as not being good enough, that it's not being sensitive to the current situation of the country. But then, let us say what we can bring out of this. But how we spend matters a lot.
It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. Yes, the calls are dropping. I don't know what exactly the matter is, but you can still call us on 0903 2229797. That's 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. Any of the 3 numbers. You can also send us a WhatsApp message. Somebody sent a WhatsApp message here, but I can't read it. Now, well, let's move on. Still talking about this cost of governance. There was a time, I'm sure you are aware of the Oronsanya report, and the controversy that it has generated. For some people, especially the labor unions, they think it's going to mean a sack of workers. Some others have argued that, our civil service is even over bloated. How do we marry these two?
You don't do one thing. Everything about Nigeria is interest. Whatever that is facing you today, because it's favoring you, you celebrate it. The moment it is backing you or is the other way around, then you begin to criticize it. We know it that the federal civil service in Nigeria, as at today, is overbloated. Some people are not doing anything there, and they are still employed, and they are still willing to employ more, because it's for some people just to get salaries, some people to bring back to their immediate constituency that, okay, this is what I brought for you, bring 2 slots, 3 slots, and you employed, and people do not even have chairs to sit in their offices, or they don't have office to even sit, and they are collecting salary. Some of these workers, they have relocated out of Nigeria, and they are still collecting salaries. All these things are there, and when you want to, downsize, you want to actually get the normal size that you can use to execute project efficiently. People are saying they want to retrench workers, Definitely, there is high unemployment rates at the moment.
Okay.
So nobody is expecting what will bring up the figures, what will increase the figures, and that is the challenge at the moment. Now, going back to the issue of spending, when we spend, let me just chip this in. When you spend, there is you have some models, some principles in economics. When you spend, you can spend your way out of crisis, and this spending must be properly documented. You are spending according to the plan. Okay, probably the economy is deflated, we need to reinflate the economy. You are now spending money on construction, spending money on aviation, spending money on so many sectors of the economy to pump it up, to bring it up out of deflation. So when you are spending such money, people understand what you are spending on. But there are some other people there, we call them rational expectationists. They are expecting to get something. When government is coming up with a policy, they are studying the policy to make money from the policies. So they will frustrate government's efforts. So altogether, what we are saying is that we must spend with discipline. It is very important. And I know the new government of the day is just about less than 6 months there. We are looking at another 6 months to give them assessments. And the assessment they are going to give in another 6 months might still to the end of this tenure, because whatever you cannot do in 6 months, because there is what we call in 6 months, then you cannot do in 1 year, then you are not likely to be able to do them again, because at that time there will not be anything like honeymoon period again. You are down to business. If you cannot achieve anything at that time, then you cannot achieve it again. Before you know it, 2 years, politics will begin again. So you may not be able to achieve them again. So by another 6 months, we'll be able to assess them. We were told that refineries, the Port Harcourt refineries, will be working by the end of this year. The one in Kaduna will be working by the end of next year. If we can have all these things working, Nigeria will be better for it. There will be little need for forex to flow out of Nigeria again. When you don't have higher demand for forex, then the prices will definitely crash down.
Okay, tying into that is our debt profile. With over $100 billion debt profile, a lot of people are concerned, especially when they hear that government is even thinking or planning of engaging in more borrowings. Now, economists, accountants, and financial people have always said that borrowing in itself is not a bad idea, but essentially what you use it for.
Yes, borrowing is not a problem, but in Nigeria at the moment is a big problem. Let's start from the era of Jonathan. When Jonathan left government in 2015, I think the debt profile of Nigeria was around 12 trillion. When Buhari was leaving in 2023, he left the debt profile around close to 80 trillion. Do we have anything on ground to justify this gap? The answer is no. And some people must answer questions. Some people must be responsible. So, when things are going wrong and we keep quiet in Nigeria, it's as if we are not a serious country. The government of the day, they are already asking question anyway, because I know the CBN governor is still being questioned up to now, for almost going to 3-4 months now. He's still being questioned, because how do we get here? Some people must answer questions, and some heads must roll, because we cannot put us into debt without any explanation. But as we say, there are different types of loan. There is functional, there are debts that are not functional. The functional debt loan, they are loans that you acquired to really put in businesses that can repay themselves. You are putting rail services, railway in Nigeria, rail system in Nigeria, aviation system. You are thinking about refineries,
or even roads that are told.
Road projects that are constructed appropriately, not the road projects that are constructed and in another 1 year they are needing maintenance. When you construct a road that can stand the test of time, that can be there for 25 years, 40 years without any maintenance requirements, so you are in for business. It is going to be easy. Just put toll gate on this road and say people should pay 500. They will pay, because what they are paying to mechanics and those people selling spare parts, in respect to the maintenance of their car, is far higher than that.
And even the security implication.
So definitely people will pay, and you can recoup your money when you have secured loan. But when you borrowed to pay for salaries of workers, you pay for people to embezzle, then the money is not coming. You are not going to get anything out of it. So that is the major challenge. To borrow, is two ways. When you borrow in a way that you are investing in the project that can repair itself, then is a good borrowing.
Okay, before we leave business and economy alone and just chip in one or two political issues, let's talk about the ease of doing business. A lot of people find that very vital, especially when we expect foreign investors to be interested in Nigeria. How has it been? I know that you are a businessman, apart from being an accountant and everything. How has it been in terms of the ease of doing business in the last couple of months?
What people call ease of doing business, I think there is misunderstanding of what we call ease of doing business. Because in Nigeria today, you see they're talking about we are talking about ease of doing business, how people register their businesses within hours. It is more than that. Ease of doing business starts from security. I want to bring investment from outside Nigeria, and I want to see how I make profit out of it. Not that when I bring my business, when I bring my money to the country, after investing it, I will have to abandon it. I will have to abandon the project. So when you look at ease of doing business, you talk about security, you talk about infrastructure, you talk about
consistency of policies.
Because sometimes, like the policy of CBN in the past, that we talk about some removal of some items from banned
import
lists for assessing forex. Some people have borrowed to invest in those areas because CBN was no longer giving forex. If they were no longer giving forex, that means they were trying to discourage importation of those products. But at the moment, because of the challenges of the immediate, the government had to rethink about it and say, Kai, let us begin to bring some of these things into the country again. Two things they want to achieve. They want to reduce inflation, and they want to see how they can divert the demand from black markets, forex demand from black markets to official markets. But all these things will take time before we see the impact. But when we look at it broadly, Nigeria, I think we are on the right path to prosperity.
All right, it's still Insight, and we've been taking a look at the challenges of the economy, how to get it back on track. It's been a very interesting discussion. The lines are still open. You can call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 222205. Wale, let's talk a little bit of politics. It looks as if the apprehension the tension over the 2023 presidential election is beginning to simmer with the decision of the Supreme Court. Now, in the next, as you said earlier, in the next 2 years, partisan politics is going to start again with party primaries and the rest. Before you know it, it will be facing another election year. But isn't this time that politicians and even people who are interested in politics should take a retrospective look at how our politics are played? Politicians use politics as they exploit our fault lines, ethnicity, religion, and everything to create artificial divide amongst Nigerians. Is this not worrisome?
It is. And as I said earlier, it's about interest. Everybody wants to win election. You want to win election to all the various offices as a president, senator, as of rep, to as a governor. So you play politics based on what you think can actually give you an edge. And that is what they do most of the time. Playing politics should be devoid of ethnicity, should be devoid of religion, should be devoid of anything that has to do with sectional. But because they know, when they know that the game is no longer favoring them, they will throw one card. They can throw religion card. When they throw it and it doesn't work effectively, they would throw ethnicity card. If it doesn't work, they all manner of cards. But Nigerians now, our eyes are opening and we are understanding all these things. As Muslims, as Christians, if you die, they will bury you inside ground. Sometimes they can even bury Muslim here, bury Christian next to him. That is to tell you that there is no difference between both of us. We will all go one day. And when you are Igbo, you are Yoruba, you are Hausa, we are Nigerian first. Until we begin to realize this, that we are Nigerian first, we will not allow these people to use us the way they like. And most of them, their children are not even in this country. They've relocated their family out of Nigeria, and they will be using some people as thugs. They'll be using some people to carry ballot boxes. They'll be using some, though with the introduction of beavers machine, I think the incidences of carrying the ballot boxes has actually reduced. But we are hoping to see elections in the future that is going to be devoid of ethnicity, religion, as we have had in 2023. Because 2023 actually threw up so many issues about religion. APC fed Muslim. And the campaign was so hectic about it, was so critical, talking about Muslim, but then they still won that election. Meaning that we are not looking at religion per se. We are looking at people who are capable, people who can actually deliver, people who can actually change the tide of things in the country, people who can make Nigeria to be a great nation, people that will stop people from going abroad to seek greener pasture, or people that will bring people back to the country and say Nigeria is now good for us to come and stay. So I think that is the area Nigerians need to think about in the coming period.
And so how do we get more Nigerians, especially the young ones, to be interested in the issues of governance, not necessarily politics this time, not only election, but the issue of governance? How do we get them to hold their leaders to account at the local government level, at the state level?
Justice, justice is the hallmark of fairness. When justice is being played appropriately, when you see justice playing out, because when people do some things and some people will use the strong hand of the security men to rough handle people because they are protesting peacefully. Peaceful protest, like, okay, you are protesting, like we're talking about the issue of how we use tax in Nigeria. People can come out. There are some NGOs in charge of all these things. They come out to protest. How do we handle them? The people who might handle them, how do we treat them? Do we apply the law to them? Or do we have different set of constitutions? One be applicable to some set of people, the other one be applicable to the other quarter of people. So when you have all these things being resolved, and people know that if they say who goes to equity goes with clean hand, and you want to go with you have clean hands, and you want to seek explanation for some things, and people are ready to give information without harassment, people will be more interested. And again, when you look at what is happening in Nigeria at the moment. The young are being, encouraged under this current administration. You see how many young people are appointed. Even the one of FEMA that they appointed, one 27-year-old boy, though they withdrew the appointment. But everything is pointing out to something, that the government is youth friendly. So when a government is youth friendly, you know that there are opportunities for you. They're saying you are youth, the head leaders of tomorrow. Youth are the leaders of tomorrow. When is the tomorrow going to come? I think the tomorrow is now, and we can see from the present government that they are ready for business. They are ready to engage the youth, and when you see youth doing well in governance, it will trigger interest from other people coming from behind.
All right, Wale, I think we have to leave it at that. Maybe some other time we will stretch this discussion further. Thank you so much, Wale Salako, for your interventions on Insight. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, well, that package for today on Inside. The program returns tomorrow. My name is Lawrence Umotte. Enjoy the rest of your day.